What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the It's Just Work podcast, hosted by yours truly, Chuck Clemens, and my brother, Stephen Hurley. Steve, what is going on, my brother?
It's going well. It's home stretch, 5 or 6 games left for most of the teams in conference play, so definitely exciting. A lot of great games this weekend, a lot of great games to look forward to.
Yeah, make sure you guys are tapping into our other segment of the It's Just Work podcast, where we're getting our college basketball picks. We'll talk about that more a little more, but we're doing pretty good so far. But yeah, the season's really flying by. Like high school,
Yeah,
obviously,
high school, I don't know
varsity.
if by you it's the same, but like the playoffs for me, I think are like this week for New
Yeah,
York.
yeah, I think. For NEPSAC playoffs start for conference play, we start like next week, next Monday, and then I think for regular Connecticut school, it's like right after that. So it's
Yeah,
it's getting to that point, and same with the college schedule. D3, RPI basketball. I have the number one seed right now. Hopefully, they can hold off and do
100%.
do well in the postseason. So it's an exciting time right now. But we have to get right into it, man. I think we saw one of the better games this past week between Arizona and Texas Tech. Texas Tech took a great win on the road versus Arizona, who's the number one team in the country. Um, Kind of a back and forth game. I feel like Arizona had more of the I don't know. I feel like they had more control over it for the most of the game, but Texas Tech is a team that they don't stop. Like they don't stop playing. And their coach is he's I love the way he coaches. Like he is like so motivational, so intense. Like I think in their team, I think they really like buy into that and they play off of that. So they came up with a huge win. But what was your just outlooks on that game? Obviously, Cole Pete didn't play the second half, but still a huge win for Texas Tech.
Yeah, and just to back off your point about Grant McCastle, their head coach, you could see when he's coached them, he coaches them hard, but you could tell like he has confidence on all those
Mhm.
guys, right? You could just see with how they play in the big games like Duke, Arizona, right? They've been so good in these big games. BYU at home, they just do a really good job. So he definitely does a great job with his players. But the big thing in this game, I thought, for Texas Tech was the interior. I mean, I'm looking here, they shot 49% from two versus the Arizona team. That's pretty decent given Arizona how good their rim protection is and inside play is. And then they held Arizona to 44% from two. So a huge part of beating Arizona is just being able to match up with their front court. They only got out rebounded by two Texas Tech, and we said in that Kansas game in our prediction, if Kansas could hold Arizona to similar rebounding metrics that Kansas had, they'd be in that game, and Kansas won. So same thing with Texas Tech here. I mean, Toppin was an absolute beast. I mean, he was just getting every clutch bucket, everything, and then key role player for them, Donovan Atwell, hit some huge threes throughout, end regulation, overtime. Yeah, he's an underrated player. He was a good transfer portal get. But
Where was
yeah,
he before? Do you know?
UNC Greensboro.
Oh, okay, so he moved
So
up.
pretty like right. So it's just like Grant McCasland again. He's done a great job in the transfer portal last year, this year, just finding guys. They're also getting healthy. Their
Yeah.
center, who I think was from VCU last year, I'm not 100% sure, but he played off the bench for them, and just getting guys healthy for them is huge. Because when I saw them play Duke, even though they won that game, they were really playing like 5, 6 guys.
Yeah, a few guys fouled out, so I think they're going really just fine. I think so. They had someone come in that didn't even play at all, and yeah, so
And to touch on Arizona a little bit, other than really Toby Awaka, just not really anyone else on offense that was really giving him much. He scored 75 points versus a Texas Tech team that's not a great defensive team. Both, Arizona playing at a fast pace, 75 in overtime at home was low for them.
mhm.
They just, they overall, I thought it wasn't bad, but I just thought, like, for example, Jaden Bradley, not his best
Yeah,
game. Burries was okay, but those
yeah,
guys just didn't have their best game. And Kobe Pete not being out there was huge.
right. Do you obviously they took a loss to Texas Tech and they also lost to Kansas as well. So they'll probably drop down in the rankings, who knows to what number, but does your, I guess, outlook of this team change a little bit, or are you still? Because I know you were somewhat high on them for the most part, but
Yeah.
does anything change after these two losses?
No, it's a great question. So obviously losing to Kansas, Texas Tech is never bad losses per
Right,
se. I
right.
mean, you're expecting without Darryn Peterson, you win that game. You're expecting at home versus Texas Tech to win that game. No, my outlook doesn't change in them at all. I think they're still one of the two or three best teams in the country. I think it'll be interesting to see, right, what Pete's injury is and how that affects them. Because if he's not there, they only really play seven guys if he's not healthy, so that could, affect them. I will say, especially when you Bradley or Burry's one of those two guys isn't on offensively. Like sometimes I think if it's not a post up or an offensive rebound, where are they getting the scoring from? So I'm not too worried about them to be honest. These are two great teams. Probably both of them could make a Final Four. So I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think these two losses are um, too much to look into. I do think, though, in terms of offensively, we've seen Jaden Bradley take over late in games. I think he's more of their closer. Braden Burries has stepped up to the plate as of recent in terms of being like that main scorer for them. But I think these two they shouldn't really have it late in the game versus Texas Tech, and
No.
I don't expect that. I don't expect to be like that all season. So um, yeah, I still think they're a top four team for sure. But honestly, Texas Tech is moving up on my list of teams of like to watch in this March Madness because obviously last year they shocked a lot of people with how well they did, and then coming back this year they had high hopes and injuries. They didn't start out, I guess, as great as everyone thought, but um, they're a team I think just like figures out how to win games. Like they're in every single game when it's late, and they might be over for them. Like they just bunker down and figure out how to play. And I think Christian Anderson, we got to start giving him a little bit more love. Like I think he's easily one of like the best point guards in the country. Like he
And it's
is
funny. I was just gonna say to your point, we always talk about the freshman point guards, but like there's so many Bennett Sturts, him, Braden Smith.
probably
There's so many good, right, point guards that you forget about a guy like that,
yeah.
but he's phenomenal. The
No,
way
he is.
he's I don't know if you have a better way to describe it, but he just has this ability to get like where he wants. His pick and roll game is so advanced. I
Yeah.
mean, he's awesome.
And it's funny too, still going back to their coach and how he instills confidence into them. I heard they were talking about a little bit, but like Christian Anderson wasn't really shoot because he was coming off the pick and rolls, high pick and rolls, and had that because Arizona was in the drop coverage, so
Yeah.
he was getting right to his 3 pointers right off of that. But early on, he wasn't really shooting it, and that opened up so much for him as well as JT Toppin because now he comes off the screen, the pull up's there. Now Big has to come up, dump downs are there, and JT Toppin was scoring off of it. But that duo is like I don't know, like they're I think honestly they're probably the best duo in the
So
country.
I just pulled up the yeah. First of all, I think they're by far the best duo.
Yeah.
Best trio, obviously, unfortunately, Richie Sanders injury, but the best trio is probably BYU talent wise in the country.
Hmm.
But I would say, yeah, best combo of those two. I'm looking at Texas Tech's schedule. They have away Arizona State, home Kansas State, who just fired their coach, home Cincinnati, away Iowa State, home TCU, away BYU. There's a chance they go undefeated, unlikely, but there's
Iowa
probably
State is where?
at Iowa State. So I'm going to say
Okay.
they get a loss,
Maybe one
but
loss, yeah.
they're going to have four losses in Big 12 play
Hmm.
to Kansas, Iowa State, UCF, and Houston. So no bad losses. And they
Yeah.
only had three non-conference losses. Illinois at Illinois, close game. Purdue, they got blown out. And then
Yeah.
Arkansas, it's close game.
Yeah.
So they could be a sneaky, like, top three or four seed for
I would
sure.
say 3 seed.
Yeah,
And I'll get to
so
see how well they do in conference play, but no, they're like they were been I don't know, they've been an underrated team, I feel like this whole season, but now I think they're getting some
100%.
like big win. Like Arizona's a big win. Duke, big win. And the way that they're doing it, it's just like I don't know that I feel like that stuff just translates to March. Like because you're gonna
They're,
be
me-
games that you shouldn't win, but you
yeah.
just pull it out and figure out a way to win, and that's how it is in March.
They are mentally tough, right?
Mhm.
And you could see that no matter how down they are, no matter how much they're up by. I know the Kansas game they kind of choked away a little bit, but
Yeah,
I would say they're mentally like very tough.
yeah,
You could see it like McCaslin's he's
yeah.
always every time I see him, he's always on the guys and they just are like, okay,
Yeah.
no one's
Like
ever arguing,
yeah,
no one's
Christian
ever
Anderson's like a this game winner. I think he got the switch
yeah,
in the movie. He probably saw it. He came around the corner and was like, "Just listen to me." Like he was got on
right.
him, but I mean, obviously, it showed in overtime. He kind of made that switch, and yeah, so they're a team that I'm buying stock on for sure. Like Final
Yeah.
Four, even maybe championship.
I want to see their
Oof.
defense with these guys, their center that just came back. I want to see like if that can improve because their interior defense at times, especially playing a lot of top and at center, is a
Yeah.
little bit shaky. But if they could play him more at the four and have this guy play center,
Yeah.
that could be an interesting
Obviously,
development for them.
Juwan Watts playing the four, but he's like 6'6".
Right?
So
He could
it's,
play a little three.
yeah, so he play a little three. I don't know if his shot is like that great, but it'll be interesting to
Yeah,
see because now they have just another body they could put out there that can, give him a little
100%.
bit um more I guess size and stuff like that. But I want to talk a little bit more about the Arizona Kansas game. More specifically, a little bit. We talk about Darryn Peterson. He obviously didn't play that game. They still got a huge win, but I think it was something maybe he had like the flu or something. He wasn't feeling too
Yeah,
well.
flu.
He was like warming up with the team,
He
like
warmed up,
he
and
was
yeah,
decision. I heard Bill Self say that they didn't really have a clue if he was playing. Like they thought he wasn't be playing.
yeah.
And I guess he just kind of set up. But now this is like obviously Darren's a great talent. He's, in my opinion, probably the number one prospect for this upcoming draft. But he like doesn't play, and I think it's at the point where it's like, all right, like yes, we understand these injuries, but now you're not playing because you have a little bit of sickness. Sickness is like, are you actually like, can you not actually play, or is it more like you're just trying to save your draft stock? I don't know. What do you feel about that? Because it's circulating around right now.
Yeah, my opinion is there's so much pressure on these guys coming out of high school that are already coming in as top picks that there is a little bit of risk if you don't play to standard, right? You'll fall out of the lotto, you'll fall out of the top pick, whatever. And that's a lot of financial, losses that you're taking. And even though Darren's been great on the court, I just think he has a pretty severe case of like, I don't want to affect my draft stock. And I know it sounds so simple, and this is all speculation. I could be totally wrong, but it just seems to me that like the draft stock is the number one priority, and that's fine. But as a competitor, as a basketball player, the all time greats like Cade Cunningham I'll use this example. He went to
Hmm.
Oklahoma State, and he was their whole team.
Yeah,
There was no other anyone else, and like there were probably times if he probably people were telling him, "Hey, you're banged up a little, let's sit out or whatever." But that guy just played every game. He, you know, went to the tournament, played in the tournament, and like I just look at a guy like that and how successful he is in the NBA. Like I don't see many elite guys just choosing to sit out games.
no,
So me personally, it definitely if I had the number one pick, I think this is a big enough concern that I would not pick him number one.
yeah, yeah,
I know that's like could be come off as like a little extreme, but if my other options are all-time great prospect AJ DeBanza, who always plays and produces,
yeah,
or an all-time college freshman season from Boozer, who's had a phenomenal year, I would rather take one of those two guys than this because this is just kind of a mess. And
yeah,
Bill Self, a head coach coming out and saying we weren't sure, we thought he was going to play, almost like kind of shocked. For him to publicly come out and say something, you already know behind closed doors, just from our experiences, like he's furious.
yeah. He definitely is. That's a good point you bring up with Bill Self. Like, obviously, phenomenal coach, legendary coach. But is he like saying something? Like, is he saying, "Yo, bro, like you gotta just play. Like I can't deal with you in and out. Like, because now he's messing up. Luckily, they've been winning games without him. But I know that's probably so hard on Bill Self.
He
And
was not good against Iowa State. Like he was
yeah,
not. He was bad. Like he was bad.
yeah,
Not Darren Peterson that we've seen. And like I think it's like, yeah, because it's like also conditioning, like getting back into game
we talked
shape
about before.
consistently. And you know this from playing in college. Like, you can't just like sit out a few games and then expect to play the next game without really practicing for a
Right.
consistent period of time. It doesn't work that way. So, I don't know. I hope he just turns it around because he's a phenomenal player and he's going to hopefully have a great NBA career. But this is like a pattern now. It's not, this
Yeah.
is a little concerning.
Yeah, it's not. It's yeah. Before it was like, all right, he might have these injuries, he might be, but now it's like, all right, but like you're obviously
Yeah.
sick now, and that's why I give a lot. I obviously still respect Darren Pearson, but I give a lot of respect to, like you said, AJ DeBansa, Caleb Wilson, because he actually got hurt in the first half of this last game that he played in the second half with the messed up wrist. Cam Boozer, like they're taking every game serious. They want to actually win these games. I don't think they're really caring so much about this draft sucks. I think they want to win games for their college. So I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I think obviously we will take that into account. I think these NBA GMs may start taking that into account too, because it's like it's not a good look right now. But
And who knows? Like if he goes the rest of the month and plays and goes off,
yeah,
everyone will look back on this and be like, "Oh, it's silly." But yeah, you got watch all these freshmen night in and night out that have just been whether it's Keaton Wagler, Kingston Flemings, even Caleb Wilson. You see how these even Caleb Wilson how he's handling his injury. The
right,
first thing that came out of his mouth was, "I'm coming back." Wasn't I'm sitting out for the draft. It wasn't this, and it's just honestly, it's just one of those things where I get the hamstring thing wasn't great, but what pushed at least me over the line was the getting sick and not playing
yeah,
versus the number one team in the country in a huge game.
yeah. And you're warming up, and it's time.
Hamstring's a different thing. I
Yeah,
get it.
that lingers
It's
on.
right, but we're a little under the weather in the biggest game of your career so far. I think any competitor would want to be out there.
Easily,
Yeah,
but who knows? Obviously, hopefully he can stay healthy, stay playing the rest of this because obviously we want to see him play. He's a great talent, so
100%.
yeah, obviously praying for the best for him. But we can move on to someone else who had an injury a few weeks ago, but has come back and is kind of taken um the scene by storm. Is Michael Brown out of Louisville? He was dealing with was it a back injury? Was it
Yes, lower back.
more back injury, right? And obviously no one really knew his timetable coming back. But since he has come back, he's been killing. He had like 40 points versus who was it again? I forgot.
NC State.
NC State and he's bringing Louisville like kind of back onto that top 20, top 15 scene again like that. So obviously you had a little bit to say about Michael Brown in terms of his situation. How are you feeling about him now? What does this do to maybe his draft stock? And yeah, what's just your outlooks on Michael Brown as of today?
Yeah, so he's obviously had these past two games have been phenomenal, and he's had these games. He had Kentucky. He's had these past two games, especially, I think, are some of his best ones. But there's been other games like he played at Duke, and I know he's kind of coming back off from injury, but it was one of those games where, like at Arkansas, he might have had a good game. I think maybe it was at Cincinnati that he had a bad game, but
Yeah. No, Cincinnati.
besides
No, Cincinnati. I think had a pretty good game. That was early on.
Okay, yeah, but I remember like at Duke, it was like a complete no-show and like it was almost like some of the shots he was taking. I know he's a very talented guy, but I'm like, if I was his teammate, especially someone like Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, it's like, okay, like we don't need to take 30. Part of why Louisville's so good, they don't have to take tough shots because they have so many great shooters. So I just think at times he kind of he's definitely a volume. He's not an efficient player right now. He's definitely a volume shooter,
Right,
which you
agree.
could see the talent, the size, and his playmakings and defense are not as bad. I think as sometimes people kind of point out. It's pretty good in my opinion, but I don't know. I just watched like Kingston Flemings and Keaton Wagler. Those guys are just like, in my opinion, game in and game out. They're helping their team win more consistently at a higher level, and they're producing game in and game out at a higher rate than he is.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
but yeah,
No, I agree. I think those two guys that you mentioned, probably the two best. I think two best, easily two best guards, freshman guards in the country.
yeah,
I probably put Keenan Wagler honestly number one. Like he's nasty, and
yeah.
he just looks good
He's
too.
been
I think Wagler just offers a little bit more in terms of like his shooting ability, a little more size. His ability to be like he's like a flow type of game where he kind of be slippery and slither through places. So I kind of like him a little bit more, but I don't know. I think Michael Brown obviously up and down year. These past two games have been very good for him. I think he kind of shown what his capability could be. So obviously, like I said before, with Team USA, I think he got MVP. He was the best player on the team with like AJ DeBansa. It was like all the top freshmen. I think maybe Cam Boozer might have been on the team, maybe Darren, but I think his ability to beat the top PG in the country in terms of freshmen. Um, and it's been an up and down season so far. But do you maybe, I guess, how do I put this? A game versus Duke, Duke top five team in the country. Game was it at Duke or was it home?
at Duke. Yeah,
At Duke. Could you put a little bit of that on just him being a young freshman that's, coming into a new situation, like playing like that's not easy to do. You know what I'm saying? Like how much of it, obviously we want him to be perfect, right? But like there are gonna be times where it might be
Oh
too
yeah,
much
yeah,
for him. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So if you were a GM, are you looking at that like he's not ready yet, or is it like, okay, he's just going through a little bit of stuff, but I'm gonna still kind of take this chance on him? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think first of all, if you're spending a lotto pick on him and first round pick, like I don't have an argument about that. There's a lot of talent there. I think there's numerous reasons why teams should draft him. I have just always said at the guard spot for the freshman class, there's guys like Acuff, Wagler, Kingston Flemings. Those guys, like every night, are excellent.
Yeah.
So it's like I only remember one bad game from Keaton Wagler at Michigan State, and I've watched Illinois a lot this year. He's been great ever since New Year's. So like Michael Brown, I just saw it now. He had 29 versus Baylor yesterday, and they had 45 at NC State. But the 2 games before that, he had 12 and 6. So it's like it's not there. Every game besides NC State, he's had at least 3 turnovers in as well. Multiple games with 4 or 5. This last game he had 6. So it's
And
like as a guard too, like but he's got a lot of potential. I just don't think he's in the same class as those guys.
I agree.
Um, but I could see like if people like took him over those guys, like I'd be like, okay, I could see that. But if I'm a GM, like those guys are in the best conferences for the most part, producing at an elite level. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I agree. I agree. I was just another question, but I think I'll put him at like tier two. I think Wagler and Flemings are both tier one. I just think with um Brown, like his size kind of does a lot for me in terms of like him being 6'5", his
hundred
ability to
percent.
be able to shoot the ball. So that's why I kind of put him in that Acuff area of like I don't know who I would choose. It depends on what you're kind of looking for because obviously they're both very talented, but um we'll see. I do. I one. I am. If I'm a GM, I'm happy that he's come back and has kind of been producing as of late. Because, like you kind of said, he could have easily just been like, "I'm waiting for the draft. Season's not going as well as maybe I thought. I don't want to put my draft stock even down even more." But um, it'll be interesting to see like what this kind of does for this Louisville team. Add another dynamic player in that backcourt, going into conference play and stuff like that. So, but I think he's a great player. So
Yeah,
I'm still pretty high on him in terms of where I would draft him at, honestly. So
yeah. Just two things I wanted to catch on here before we go to the next topic. Louisville is going to be an interesting like if they're like a 7 through 10 seed. God, I do not want to. I don't want to see them. Right, right. So as much as I have some criticisms with how they play at times, like it's all about your seed. Like if they're a 9 seed and they go against any of those 1 seeds, I know the 1 seeds are great this year, but it's like, okay, that's a really tough matchup. Louisville's closer to a top 15 team in the country than they are, a top 30 team in the country for sure. So it's like that'd be a tough matchup. And then the second thing I'll say is I think it's good for him to come back. It shows also like just like a competitive like I want to be out there. And as much as maybe like shot selection isn't great at times, and whatnot, like you guys are obviously a competitor and care, so that's a huge plus.
interesting to see how they kind of fare up in terms of these last couple of games and into the conference tournament. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I think it'll be a little bit make the ACC tournament a little more interesting, just having
Yeah.
Louisville be one of those top teams. But let's move on to another team in the Big Ten who is started out being ranked, um, didn't start out that well, but have three of probably the biggest wins this season. I'm talking about Wisconsin. They have wins over, help me out, Illinois,
Michigan State and Michigan, yeah.
Michigan, and Michigan State. Okay, Michigan State is
Two of those on the road.
yeah. Michigan was on the road. Michigan was undefeated at that time. They're number two team in the country. Illinois on the road, right?
Yes, Illinois was on the
Uh,
road. Yep.
and that's when they were playing great. Like they were making their run. They were like a seventh or eighth team at that time. Then Michigan State, obviously, another top 10 team probably at that time too. So, what's your outlook on Wisconsin? Because they're obviously a weird team. Um, I mean, obviously they're kind of showing that they can make some noise against these bigger teams into the tournament. So, what's your outlook on them? How far are they like a really legit second week team? Can you see them going even farther to like Elite Eight, Final Four games, or are you still like not really too sold on these guys?
So I know they've done really well and they have some big time wins, but in the NCAA tournament to get to a Final Four and Elite Eight, you got to beat for where their seed will be. They have to beat three legitimate teams. Like they can't. They're not going to get a 14 seed.
Where do you think they'll be like a 7 through? Where do you think?
I'd say at the very like if they go on this crazy run, let's say 5, 6 seed is the absolute max, and the
Yeah,
floor is
six max. Yeah.
like a 10 seed. So I guess we'll say like 7 through 9. We'll just put it there, and it's like okay, they could win a game. Can they beat the second, or 1 or 2 seed? They've proven they can, but is that most likely? Probably not.
Hmm.
So I'm not a huge fan of their team in terms of defensively. I do think they're weak. I just don't.
Hmm.
They do not make teams uncomfortable. They have some size, so they rebound well, but
Yeah.
yeah, they played a fast pace on offense, so sometimes that could lead to some issues on transition defense and all that stuff. But yeah, I think they could win a game. Could they win a second game and get to Sweet 16? I guess they could. I just don't think that's likely. They could
Yeah.
win a game though.
Yeah, I think there are gonna be a lot of people's Cinderella underrated team this year. Obviously, with these big wins, and I agree. I don't really see them going too far in the
Let
next
me see
one.
if I could pull up like their bracket seed while you're talking.
Yeah, but like when you have the backcourt of Nick Boyd and John Blackwell, um, like they just are just so dynamic, and they can fare up with a lot of backcourts in the country. Obviously, with Michigan, they were both going at it. And I don't know. I think we have a backcourt that's just pretty dynamic and can score and get teammates involved. Obviously, in my opinion, I think guards win big games in March. But I think it all really comes down to where they're seated. They're going to play a two seed in the second game. If that's like a whoever it is, maybe a Illinois, Duke, like you don't know who it is. I don't think they're beating these teams early on in the tournament. So I don't know. I think they have three big wins, so the capability is there. But I don't know. I don't. I just don't see it
Yeah, I
moving around for them.
yeah like they played BYU earlier in the year, and like that game was not competitive.
Yeah, I
Like,
see they
and
play
I
good.
have my own gripes against BYU, but
Yeah, they were getting smacked early on. So maybe I don't know. I gotta see how they finish out the regular season and in the conference tournament. If they can like go on these runs, like they could win. I guess there's like 6 games left in the regular season. They can go win 4 out of 6, make a pretty solid run in the conference tournament. That might change how I'm looking at them because they're just like getting hot
yeah.
at that point. But like they're a team that I think can just like lose and lose pretty badly. So they just look they don't look good sometimes. They look pretty bad sometimes. So, but they
Yeah,
also
so I have it. Hold on. I see Wisconsin here a lot of places as a 9 seed before their few wins this week. So let's
yeah.
say they're like a 7 seed right now. Like, yes, they can beat a 10 seed, but they could also lose.
Mm,
So like it's one of those things. I think they could win a game for sure.
yeah,
But if you're telling me they're gonna beat Illinois again, fully healthy, they're gonna beat Iowa State, Houston.
yeah,
Could they beat Nebraska? Yeah. I'm
yeah.
not saying Nebraska's a bad team, but like that's the vulnerable. But if you're telling me they're gonna beat Duke, Michigan, Arizona again, or UConn, it's just unlikely. I
I
don't
agree.
see that.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But let's see. It's really, like I said, it's all about matchups when they're seeded, but.
100%.
I don't know. I don't know. Let's move on to this is a topic that was in our group chat with the RPI guys. Shout out to my boy Sully. I think it was you and Sully that were maybe
Me and
talking
Sully
about
were a
individually.
tough Instagram DM battle between us that we were arguing back and
Shout
forth
out
on. But yeah,
Sully. That's my boy. That's the voice. He helps us out a lot on this podcast stuff right here. But he's a ball knowledge type of guy. He knows what's going on, and obviously
oh
Steve
yeah,
is as well.
100%.
But we were talking about, or you guys were talking about Big 12 versus the Big 10, and who's just the better conference right now. Obviously, Big 12. You have Arizona, Houston, Texas Tech, Iowa State. Big 10, you have Michigan, Michigan State. Um, who else? I'm blanking right now. Nebraska.
They
We talk about Wisconsin a little bit like that, but
Yep.
you
UCLA,
said,
USC, Iowa, all them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you said that in
Big
general.
Ten.
Big, okay, go ahead, go.
Yeah. So what I'll say is, Yeah, so it'll say I kind of judge it off three factors. Who could on who's the best conference? Who's the teams that could win a national championship slash get to Final Four? Who's how many
Wait,
teams
I
can
know.
make the
All
tournament?
right, so first, that's the first thing, right? Who can make the
Yeah.
Final Four? Let's name them right now.
So
Well, Big Ten
yeah,
first.
Big Ten. I'll go. Hold on, I'm just pulling up so I see all the teams. Michigan,
Yes,
Illinois,
yes,
Purdue,
yes. So that's,
Nebraska.
keep count. Uh,
Okay, that Nebraska got as four
yeah, yeah. I
as
guess
a
you.
Final Four.
All right, we'll do Final Four. I guess you gotta put them in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Michigan State. I'll go as five.
Yes. So one, you had five.
Yep.
All right, that's five. So let's go Big 12 next.
Let me pull up the
Houston.
Big 12. Yep.
Yes. Arizona.
Yep.
Yes. Kansas.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Iowa State.
Yep.
Texas Tech.
Ah,
I have
yeah.
yes. You have yes. So that's 5-5, right? BYU.
No.
Okay. All right. So that's number one. What was your number two?
How many
Uh,
teams can make the tournament? This is a big separator.
ooh. All right. Let's do it right now. Let's do it right
Yeah.
now. Let's
So
do it right now. So you got
Michigan.
yes.
So hold on. Let's just go. We have those five teams
You
already.
have those five. Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is six.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA
UCLA.
is seven.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lock, but I would say they could get in. Eight is Iowa.
Yeah.
Nine is Indiana.
Yeah.
10 is USC.
They're
And
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
borderline, they're on the fence right now, Ohio State. So you can argue
10.5.
11.
Yeah, you can argue 11, most definitely. Oh, yeah.
So let's look at
Yeah, yeah.
let's look at the Big 12.
We
And
have
let me tell you,
those
it's not going to
six.
be 11.
Yeah, we have those six. West
What
Virginia.
BYU?
West Virginia.
Okay, they could make it. That's seven,
UCF. UCF's gonna
eight,
make it. Yeah. TCU.
t- nine. But like, if we're really looking at it, West Virginia and TCU are all toss-ups.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
And
so
then
they
maybe
go.
like I hate to tell you, I love Baylor. Wrote about Cameron Carr in one of my Substack articles about
Yeah,
being a breakout player
hold
March.
on. We gotta make sure we plug that in a little
Yeah.
bit. Tell me about your little articles that you got going on, man.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
about
So I have this, I don't even know what to call it, but I always have these ideas for college basketball. I'm like, I gotta write about them. I just
Mhm.
so many topics. So yeah, definitely check out my Substack. Get into I actually just made Twitter this weekend
Okay,
and
tough.
whatnot for it. So I'll plug that for you guys. It's
Yeah,
definitely in the
we'll put that.
comments
I'll
from my
put that
blog.
all in the description, man. You guys go check it out. It's pretty good
100%.
reads. I'm
Yeah.
subscribing to the newsletter every day, but you guys go check it out.
Yeah, so but what I was talking about with Baylor is they could be a potential March Madness team. I just looked, they're 3-9 in the conference. There's no way they're making March Madness. They're done. So that gives us six, seven,
Eight,
eight, nine.
nine.
Oklahoma State's low key coming on recently, but they're 4-8 in the conference, so that'd be tough. I don't see that.
Good. Yeah.
But
Yes,
yeah, so
so that goes both of them, I guess. Our first one's tied. Second reason, Big Ten.
all right, then the last criteria. How bad is the bad? So meaning how bad is the bad teams? So I hate to say it, but the two bad teams in the Big 12 mostly is Kansas State. They just fired their coach Jerome Tang tonight, and Utah is a complete mess. They're 1-11 in the conference, and they're 9-16. Those teams are KenPom 101 and 119th in the Big 12, so not great.
Bring the numbers out.
Big 10, however, not. This is where I could argue the Big 12, like the bottom isn't as is better because I don't know if any of you guys have seen Rutgers, Penn State, or Maryland recently. All dumpster fires, unfortunately, this year. So those teams are all 130s, 150s, 120s in Ken Pom. So they're actually worse. But the big separator for me is just the amount of quality teams that can make the tournament is much more in the Big Ten. And then teams that could win a national championship, it's honestly pretty even.
Yeah,
Maybe
both.
even the Big 12 you could argue is more.
Yeah.
So, but I just think the amount of teams that can make the tournament is just higher quality in the Big Ten, and that's the separator.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I can't really argue with that because we just really broke it down by the numbers.
But the top of the Big 12 is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'd say there's three really good, three, there's three really good Big Ten teams.
I'll say four.
Four, yeah. Who do you like better, Nebraska or Michigan State?
Michigan State.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't
Nebraska, I don't
know.
know. No, I don't know how I feel about them boys.
Yeah, tough losses recently, but yeah, no. So I just think the amount of quality tournament teams is separated there.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
give
I
you that.
agree. I think just looking at it, like you said, we renamed who's gonna make the tournament, who's in versus each other. So I mean, that's not crazy. Like you really broke it down. So um,
100%.
I think Sully was looking more of it as like the top teams going against each other and stuff like that. But I agree. I got the Big Ten too. So I definitely wanted to bring that in real quick because obviously that was a big little
Hot topic, yeah.
forth we had in our group chat. But moving on, let's talk about some injury bugs going around on the top teams in the country. Obviously, Caleb Wilson, we mentioned a little bit earlier, has a wrist injury. Don't know how long he's out for. That'll be a huge loss for North Carolina. Um, and then we have Richie Saunders, I just found out today he tore his ACL, so he's out for the season.
Yep.
Obviously, prayers up to both of them. Richie Saunders is a guy that just always went hard. He was a huge reason why BYU did so well this year, and it's tough to see him kind of go out like the way he did because he was a great player. But let's talk about BYU first. What impact does that have on their team losing such a big asset in Richie Saunders?
So BYU, like we've talked many times, is a team focused on their three core main scorers, offensive producers, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders, AJ Devanta. And Saunders is just a guy that you know every game is going to go out there and produce. Now, production could be him scoring, which he's a great scorer, great shooter. It could be defensively, energy wise, just making those crucial plays, clutch buckets. And that's a huge loss for them. And for a team that's built around three guys and not a lot of depth, it's a huge loss for them. This views them to a team to me if they played out the whole year with just this roster and didn't have Richie Saunders, they would be like one of the last four in, first four out type teams to
Middle of
me.
the pack of the Big 12 easily.
Yeah, so I just think they're like now they're a team that like if they win a game in March, that's phenomenal, great season. But they're going to be a team that has a high chance of being upset. So it'll be interesting to see. I said their schedule earlier, but a lot of tough games on the road. Away at Cincinnati, away at West Virginia is tough, and they have home against like Iowa State, Texas Tech. So not a lot of easy wins for them coming up. So yeah, so I don't know. BYU's in trouble. I hate to say it, but they're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. I think Richie, like you said, he took about his scoring, his defense, his offensive rebounding was
Yeah,
amazing. Like he was just a guy that I think every
energy guy.
team needs energy guy, but he also was like actually like really good as well. So definitely a huge loss for them. I think now it just puts so much more on AJ. 'Cause I think having Richie out there, he's obviously a 3-point specialist, a threat out there. So you have to stay a little bit home when AJ does have the ball. And that takes that away. So it's going to put so much more on AJ and Rob Wright to kind of create all of the offense for BYU. Because who else, like their big man's not really score. Like their
No.
shooter, what's his name? Davis? Is that his last name?
Yeah, they'll probably need a lot more from him, but they're gonna need. There's this guy off the bench. He's like a younger guy, I think.
Is the
He's a
big white dude?
European. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they're gonna need him to shoot it well. I mean, they're gonna need significant contributions, but they're just not a deep team.
yeah.
That's why they got Ahmed halfway through the year. That's why the loss of even
Right.
Dawson Baker, like early in the year, right?
Hmm.
So it's just they're not a deep team. That's why I think like they could be a team that's one of those upset, like they'll be
Yeah,
upset. They
yeah,
could be.
yeah. Early on, early. I mean, you kind of had this outlook in terms of like how far they would make it
I
early
I
on.
want to yeah, I want to take credit for it, but I want to be fair as well and be like,
Yeah,
yeah, he's, Richie Saunders and he's such a great player to watch. It's like yes, it might theoretically happen that it does like, oh, maybe Steven was onto something. Even though I think if Richie Saunders was healthy, I still think they could
yeah.
win. But yeah,
Yeah, no, this is a tough one, but obviously Caleb Wilson, he'll probably come back this year. I don't know the extent of his injury.
I don't know the timeline either, but it sounds like from what him and Hubert Davis have been saying that he's scheduled to come back.
Yeah, and obviously I mean, obviously that big one versus Duke took a tough one to Miami the game after, but they're a team that can make some noise in the tournament, stuff like that. So losing him is huge. I think. Darren Stevenson has to like Darren Stevenson was started on Alabama. Like he's a good player. I don't think he's had the year that maybe everyone probably thought he was. Just playing kind
Yeah.
of in that background role to Caleb Wilson. But I think now
Yep.
it's his time to really step up because he's someone that could shoot the three ball really well. He's lengthy, um, not a bad defender, and I mean, obviously being a Duke guy, I don't really like anything about UNC, but I do kind of like this team in terms of what's their point guard's name? He's the light-skinned kid.
Trimble,
No. Um,
Derek Dixon.
yes. I like his game a lot. I like his game a
Yeah.
lot. He's just a solid point guard for them. He's like 6'5". I think he averages like 8.5, few rebounds, few assists. So he does a lot for them, which I think could translate to March. But until then, I think UNC's kind of lucky they're in the ACC where they might not have, I don't know the rest of the schedule, but they could kind of pull some games out without Caleb Wilson. But once the tournament does start, I think they
I
need him.
hate to say it, they actually have a very tough
Oh,
schedule. Like
really?
they play away NC State, away Syracuse isn't great, but on the road not great. Home Louisville, home Virginia Tech, home
Duke.
Clemson,
Mm,
away Duke.
okay.
Honestly, out of those teams, possibly, I mean, four of them are definitely making the tournament, but maybe five. So five out of the six teams are
Okay.
NCAA tournament teams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I
not
mean,
good.
so that's gonna be pretty tough. But
I
if they,
think
no,
I
it's,
was just gonna say in this stretch, um, if they go, let's see, if they would go 3-3, that would be like wow.
yeah.
So
I mean, and
yeah,
you never know. There could be a situation like Kansas where they get some wins without Caleb Wilson, and they come back and they start firing. But
hundred
um,
percent.
he just brings so much for them in terms of like the energy, the offensive scoring. Like he is an easy 20-10 guy every game. So like I said, I think it's gonna be a lot on Jaron Stevenson to try and pick it up, which I think he can somewhat do, just being off of a high level starter for a little minute now. So that's good that he's like kind of their backup person that they're looking forward to. So
I wonder if they go to a lineup where it's like Trimble and Kyan Evans is a highly touted transfer.
yeah,
Maybe they or Dixon. Maybe they play Kyan Evans at the two spot a little more to get some offensive production there because he's a talented player. He's just not a point guard.
yeah,
So
good
it'd be
scorer.
interesting to see if they do that and have Stevenson, Vasar play the 4 and 5, or if they go a different route. But I'm interested to see that because Evans, he's got a lot of talent. He's not a point guard, and that's
Yeah.
what they brought him in to be. So
Yeah. I don't think the size will be that big of a factor because Dixon's like 6'5", Trimble's like 6'3". I think uh Evans is like 6 foot 6'1". He's not that tall, but
yeah,
maybe 6'2". I don't know, but you got the two bigs, so um yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of make
100%.
these adjustments going forward. But we had some very breaking news this past week. Charles Bediako out of the G League, Alabama, NBA, wherever he was, um, came back,
Yeah,
played for Alabama, played 5 games, but a judge said that, or the NCAA, I forgot who said it. I don't know if it's the NCAA or a judge. I don't know
I
who
think it
said it.
was Judge and the NCAA.
So they both said that he cannot come back to college and play anymore. Um, Obviously, this is a huge topic within college basketball right now, where G League guys, pro guys are trying to come back and play. Do you think this was the right decision? Is it good for college basketball? What are your overall thoughts on it?
Right decision, 100% in terms of if you go to college and then you like, let's say you enrolled at Alabama like he did, and then decide to go to the draft, you shouldn't be allowed to come back. Right? I think this clearly establishes that, and that's great. A few things that are still a little concerning to me is like Kyrie Walker, for example. He
Yeah,
recently took a
yeah,
visit to Maryland, and like I don't know how old is he, Chuck? Is he 25?
25, yeah, he's old. He's
Yeah,
on, yeah.
so right, even though he didn't choose to go to college at first, like okay, he's 25 years old going to college. Like, is that really like, and is he really a student athlete at the same time? It's like, no.
Yeah, what classes he gonna take? Like,
Yeah, so that's not really even like a
he
thing
played in the
anymore.
G League though.
I think so.
Okay, yeah,
Because they really haven't like set a precedent of like, yet of like, if you're in the G League and come back, like that, they haven't established that yet. Because like the guy for BYU, for example, played in the G League and he's playing and he's fine. But
yeah,
since he didn't go to college
exactly. That's,
originally,
that's what it is. It's like
yeah, so it's yeah.
I think it's college. I think it's also like NBA games as well. Like I think Ben
Yeah,
Yedlin played. I think did he play an NBA game or
I
no?
don't think he did.
I don't think he played an NBA game, but he was at college before. But I know Amari Bailey is trying to come back as well. Um, I don't know what his situation is, but so let's move on to a team that we've talked through a little bit. Not like we haven't highlighted them so much, but obviously Miami, Ohio, the only undefeated team in the country, mid-major team. Obviously, people have a lot of mixed feelings about where they should be seated. How good are they? They don't really have that many great, I guess, big time wins. But I guess if you were, send seeds or you were committee and stuff like that, where would you, I guess, have them be seated or where like their tournament outlook so far?
Yeah, so based off everything so far, I'll give a scenario. So obviously they win the conference tournament. They're in.
Right.
If they lose a game and they lose it, if they lose one game and that one game is in the conference tournament, the final, I think they're still in.
Hmm.
I think if they lose a game in the regular season and lose a game in the conference tournament, I just don't think they have anywhere near the quality wins to make the tournament. Similar thing happened with Indiana State a few years ago, I think, where they just didn't beat anyone.
Right.
And Indiana State was a lot better team. They had Ryan Conwell. They had uh, who else they have on that team? They had obviously Robbie Avila, the center. They had a lot of good players. That Yeah, they had a lot of good players on the team. So I don't. They're just not. I watched them play Ohio on Friday night. They're like again, the MAC is not like a. It's a solid mid-major conference, but it's not the American. It's not the Mountain West WCC. So I just don't think. I think if they lose a game in the conference tournament, that's their only loss they're in. They have two total losses. There'll be a debate. I could see how they squeak in. If they lose three games in total, they're not getting in. They just don't have the wins.
I even say if they lose two, so they lose in the regular season and lose conference, I don't really see them.
No.
I don't think they're gonna get in. I don't, because I don't think people are giving them the love that they may, I guess they think that they deserve. Because I mean, like you haven't played anybody, and obviously teams want to play you, but it's just the reality. Like you haven't played anybody, so
Yeah.
and like they're gonna get the short end of the stick. So I think for them, they have to kind of just have one loss or zero losses to get in.
It's a two-way street with the not wanting to play anyone. If there's probably big schools that say to them, "Hey, come play us at our place." But they're probably like, "No, like let's go to like a neutral site." And those schools are like, "We don't want to do that."
Yeah, makes no sense.
Maybe there's some schools who don't want to play them at home, but I doubt that. But that gives the whole point of like, okay, if Miami, Ohio played in Charleston, the Charleston Classic this year,
Yeah,
a few of those teams in there was Xavier, West Virginia,
yeah,
Georgia. If they had one win against West Virginia, Georgia, or Xavier, that dramatically improves their resume. So it's
yeah.
like you don't even have to go to like Players Era or even let's say they went to Maui, for
Yeah,
example.
which tournament was it? Yeah, because now they can get in Maui for sure. But
Yeah.
like, what tournament? It was like UNC, Michigan State, and there was like everyone else was like just
That
straight.
was like in Fort Myers. That was like in
Exactly.
Florida.
But like you gotta, and I don't know if I was talking with you or somebody else, but like that's where you kind of I think build your resume a little bit is these like
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, Christmas tournaments. Like you gotta find your way into a somewhat competitive.
100%.
I don't know if they played any this year, but that's where they have to find it. I don't honestly I don't know the back end of it, how they're setting stuff up, but like I don't know. I can't really feel sorry for you
What's
being
the downside? Yeah, what's the downside for them going to play at New Mexico? Okay, they lose at New Mexico. That's not a bad loss. And New
exactly
Mexico's not a team that's like unbeatable in the Mountain West. But I'm just
right.
giving you an example of like go play even like in the American, like go play Tulsa, go play Memphis, South Florida on like a neutral court somewhere. Like that's a huge game for those teams. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know the like I
I
said,
don't. Yeah, we don't know the full
don't know
story.
who they reached out to. Like maybe they did reach out to these teams. They also were just like, we don't want to play you guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think them. Not so much St. Louis, but more them, just because I think St. Louis has more of a better strength of schedule. But
Yeah, way
yeah,
better conference as well.
conference exactly just in general. But like they're gonna, I mean, they're a team like they're not gonna get any love from the committee. I don't think unless they like have one or
Hmm.
two or zero losses. I think they get two, bro. That I don't know because I don't know
Yeah,
who
it's
that's the
toss up.
schedule is, but. Um,
I'm gonna pull it up as you talk now.
Maybe it's like Akron or Cannon. I don't know. Some teams like that, but like those teams aren't really that great anyway. So
So they've beat Akron this year at home, which is probably a quad two win. I don't even know if that's a quad one win. Their non-conference schedule, they played three teams that are not even Division One teams. They played one, two, three, four, five, six. They almost played 10 teams that are higher than 300 in Kempom. That's horrific. They've not played one. They played one team who's in the top 100, and they played two or three teams that are in the top 150. So
yeah,
not good.
no, no. I yeah, yeah. They have to win out. I think to get in. And even if they do get in, like what seed do you think they'll get? Like a 7 through 10 if they go on a feet like
No, they'll be. In my opinion, they'll be an 11 seed.
11. Yeah, that sounds way too high. Sorry. Yeah, I saw somewhere they
11 or well, if they win the
oh,
conference
yeah, right.
tournament,
Something like that.
yeah, I can see 11 or 12. They're not getting a 9 or a 10. There's no way.
Yeah, they should. I think yeah,
No.
I think they're cooked. But it's just an interesting topic because obviously they've been very vocal about their situation. So we'll see, we'll see. Hopefully they just went out and we'll
Me
see.
and our friend Andrew Deppie have been for weeks battling this out of if Miami, Ohio would win a game in the tournament. He seems to like him.
Nah,
I don't see it.
nah, Deppy, you obviously you're in the Ball Knowers group chat. You know ball. You're having a great year so far on and off the court. But nah, brother, they're cooked. They're not gonna win a game. And then they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna get smacked. I feel like, and then it's like, bro, like you guys just wasted
What
our
were we
time.
thinking? Yeah.
Exactly. But
Shout
um,
out Deppie though. Make your free throws if you're watching this.
shout
No
out
more
Big
one for
Bat,
twos.
man. That's the guy right there. But obviously, we had a couple of players that went back home, I guess, in a sense, to go play there against their former
Yeah.
teams within conference. We had Bryce Hopkins go back to play Providence, which was just a ridiculous game. Big brawl, seven
Jesus.
guys
Yeah.
ejected, players suspended, and Bryce was a guy that went up for a layup and got just murdered by Powell and
Yeah.
just the team in general. He had a okay game that game. Um, and then we have Denzel Aberdeen, who went back to Florida, he just won a championship with them last year. He came back, they lost to Florida, but he had like 19 points. So, um, obviously, probably a bittersweet moment for both of those two guys. But how do you feel about guys leaving in conference and then coming back and playing? Like, that must be just like a crazy experience for them.
It was a crazy experience for everyone involved for sure, especially if they've been there for a few years. But I just think like there's two aspects of it. Is it like this crazy thing that people should be, like in this case of the Providence game where, Hopkins should be like villainized like that? I mean, I guess you could be angry, but at the same time, he hasn't played a basketball game there in 2 years.
Right,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like you gotta bigger fish to fry in Providence, right? You're getting smacked the whole year, terrible year. Your coach is gonna be fired. So it's like bigger fish to fry there. And then you look at like Denzel Aberdeen in Florida. I know he had much more team success at Florida than Bryce did at Providence, but like I don't know, like you could boo him in warm-ups, that's totally fine. But when the game starts, like it's about winning. But it was never about winning at Providence that game. It was about, screw Bryce Hopkins, this or that, and that's great. They went home with the L and they're 4-11 in the conference. So
And obviously, I saw the guy Jameer Jones last game when they beat St. John's.
yeah,
Um, in the post game, talking about like I don't know. They asked him about Bryce Hopkins. He was like, "Yeah, even if he was here, I'll still be starting over him." So like I don't know. There's some
it's like an
animosity for
individ.
it.
It just reeks of like they care about individual success more than the
Right,
team success,
right.
and that's shown with their record this year. I mean, in my opinion, I don't want to bash the guy too hard, but Kim English as the head coach has no control over that team,
Yeah,
none,
that was
and that was
that
so disappointing.
that should
Yeah,
that
that was a
should
terrible look for his program.
that was horrible.
Terrible. Yeah,
Like that was bad. I mean, you could say the coach had nothing to do with that. No, I mean like I don't know what he's saying before and after the game, but they're that whole team did not
And
like
they
they
took no accountability after the game. Kim English, the athletic director,
really.
no accountability. Not the first words out of your mouth should have been that was absolutely unacceptable from Jameer Jones and Duncan Powell today, right? That's what I mean. Unacceptable, and they took no accountability. And that's why Providence is a program. They're basically their laughing stock in the Big East, and they should be that should be a premier job in the conference. And hopefully, a coach can get in there and do the right stuff. Because Kim English, I mean, he's has no idea what he's
No,
doing.
no, that's honestly a
It was a
representation
bad
of a
look,
good team. And even Florida and Kentucky, like Aberdeen was hugging his guys after. Like,
right? And yeah,
it's
but
just
before
different.
the game, I was just gonna say it's like they were booing him. They were this and that, but like he had a great game. They lost. It's like okay, they competed hard. That's what's supposed to
Yeah,
be. The fans weren't like taunting him or anything like that. But it's like
it was
as a
respect.
fan, yeah, as a fan base, it's like it's about winning. It's not about. Rick Pitino said after the game, like he was a little disappointed and like the fans kind of got away from what was the game was about. And I agree with them. Like it was just a complete mess.
Yeah, see, that was a low light of just a great weekend in general. But
100%.
yeah, we got another week down. I think it's episode 16.
So we're recording on Sunday, 4 Sundays away from Selection Sunday, if you believe it.
Oh
I
man, that's
know.
probably watching so much March Madness during work, bro. It's probably bad, bro. I'm not
Yeah,
even
I know. I got yeah.
focused at all. But no, I mean we're going with this thing. Obviously, another episode, another week down. Like I said, we always appreciate the love, whether it's in person, through social media, like this stuff really keeps me and Steve going, and we keep, we're just it helps us so much just with college basketball in general. So we appreciate you guys more than you
Yeah.
guys. One person,
W-
whether it's 100 people, like it don't matter what it is. We appreciate y'all. So
we love hearing from everyone. It's funny. Me and Chuck have been a few places at the same time. We've had like whether it's parents, people we don't we're friendly with, or maybe don't talk to on a recurring basis, come up to us and say, "Hey, like the podcast looks great. It's
yeah,
awesome. I watch the clips on YouTube, on Instagram, so it's always means a lot."
that's awesome, man. It's awesome. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We'll see you guys soon.